Hello and welcome to News Central Television with me, Blessings Mosuru. The top stories at this hour. Police authorities deployed tactical assets to Plateau State following deadly attacks in Bokos local government area. Despite opposition, Rivers State Sole Administrator Ibok-Ete Ibas appoints new LG administrators and State Electoral Commission chairman. Gabon's pivotal elections set for Saturday as Junta Chief Oligui faces 7 challengers. We have the details shortly. News now at this hour begins in West Africa, Nigeria, where the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered the immediate deployment of police tactical assets to troubled communities in Plateau State. This action follows a series of attacks and killings in the Bokos local government area that have plagued the region since March 28. Now, in a statement released on Wednesday morning, Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi confirmed that the deployment aims to restore peace, ensure the safety and security of all residents, and bring those responsible for these crimes to justice. He added that the Inspector General has directed Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations, DIG Kwazi Yakubu, to spearhead the operation. Now, the intervention will be supported by significant reinforcements, including additional highly trained tactical personnel, state-of-the-art drones for enhanced surveillance, armored personnel carriers, police mobile force units, helicopters, and specialized platoons from the Special Intervention Squad. Meanwhile, Plateau State Governor has revealed that bandits have taken control of 64 communities across the state, with a particular focus on Bokos, Barikin Ladi, and Riyom local government. Now, speaking in a television interview on Tuesday, the governor outlined the ongoing attacks, which have resulted in over 50 deaths and the destruction of more than 300 homes in just the past week. He added that these communities, which survived similar attacks in 2023, are now facing renewed violence. The governor expressed his frustration over the lack of national attention to the crisis, which has plagued the state for over a decade. Despite these long-standing challenges, the Plateau State government says it has been working to assess the damage and provide relief materials to victims of the attacks. And in the meantime, the welfare of troops and officers of the Nigerian military has been classified as paramount in ensuring their dedication to duty and the security of Nigeria. These were the words of Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, during his working visit to some army formations in Plateau State, north-central Nigeria. Correspondent Chizoba Anyowe was there for News Central and now tells us more.
It is the second day of the visit of Nigeria's Army Chief to Plateau State. He was received at the 332 Artillery Regiment, Nigerian Army, Shandam, by the wives of officers and men of the command. The Chief of Army Staff inspected some ongoing projects and commended troops and officers for their dedication to duty. At the 3 Division Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Chukuba, Lieutenant General Oluyede also commissioned other projects and instructed that more residential blocks be constructed for personnel.
The problem is that we cannot have the resources to do everything at a time, but we do our best to ensure that things are better for you. As we speak, I've just directed that 10 new blocks to be renovated within the back. And for your operations, I have ordered security to be given. For your children to go to school, I have told them that we should renovate one of the schools here. So we just keep on doing our best to ensure that soldiers get the best. We have commissioned the first set of 400 houses in Abuja. We are building another set in Abuja. We are building in Benin. We are starting another one in Ibadan. So please subscribe and you will get as many as who would like to subscribe. There is no scam there.
General Oluyede commended the troops' bravery, urging them not to relent in their delivery while recommitting to improving their welfare for better results.
When you look at our constitutional responsibility, which is to defend Nigeria and support civil authorities to make things better and safer in Nigeria, then I charge you to do more. And it's imperative that you do more. Because without peace, there can't be any development. On my own, I promise to give my best to you, make things better for you, and on your own part, as a covenant, you must give your best to Nigeria. Am I clear? Yes, sir! So we have a covenant established that I will do my best and you do your own part. Is that clear? Yes, sir! Do we agree? Yes, sir! All right. So that is my message to you this morning. And I'm going to round up by commending you again for what you are doing. We are proud of all of you and we expect to do more.
The Chief of Army Staff wrapped up his visit by urging Nigerians to always collaborate with security agencies to ensure a better and more secure nation. In Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyomi.
Now, in Nigeria's northeast, Borno State Governor Professor Babangana Umaru Zulum has raised concerns over the rising threat of foreign terrorists inflating or infiltrating into Nigeria, specifically through Borno State. The governor also raised alarm about the transfer of high-level military equipment from the northeast to other regions, making the northeast vulnerable. News Central's Umodu Kidawa completes this report.
The battle for peace building in the insurgency-ravaged northeast Nigeria is continuing. A reversal of gains in the counter-insurgency effort is what the northeast is witnessing, with increasing sporadic attacks on resettled communities. A cause of concern as Borno State government convenes high-level security meeting with traditional leaders and security agencies.
The Northeast is now standing alone. No attention will be receiving from the Ministry of Defense in terms of equipment and others. While we are saying we appreciate them, this is time that they should also give us a listening ear. Otherwise, the security situation in Borno State has started deteriorating. And it is our own duty to inform the federal government of the dangerous impacts in what is recently been happening in the state. Although foreign insurgents are coming into Nigeria, so it nothing is being done. The state will be in turmoil again. I believe the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will not accept this one.
Abadam, Marte, Kuzamala local government areas in northern Borno, among other selected communities in both central and southern Borno, remain largely inaccessible due to the presence of terrorists.
Our government will continue to support our defense and security agencies while pushing them to perform better in encountering terrorism, insurgency, and criminality.
All these programs were masterminded, brought and injected by settlers. By settlers in the sense that they used to come to Borno in disguise to acquire primary education, to acquire education, higher education, local business, etc.
The stakeholders call for military action comes at a critical time as several attacks have resulted in casualties and significant destructions. While discussion is still ongoing on how to strategize towards addressing the rising security concerns in the northeast, urgent and deliberate efforts are needed to safeguard lives and properties as well as forestall future security vulnerabilities. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umori Kirawa.
Now, more than 10 years have passed since displaced persons arrived at the informal IDP camp in Jere, Borno State, seeking refuge from the violent insurgency that forced them to abandon their homes. Now, over the years, the camp, which was never meant to house people long-term, has become overcrowded and increasingly difficult to live in. Now, the displaced individuals are raising their voices, demanding settlement in their communities to restore their dignity and hope for the future.
For over 10 years, displaced families have taken refuge at this informal camp at Madina 2 of Jere local government area of Borno State. This is the makeshift shelter for Ladidi Ali and her 7 children who struggle to survive in the face of years of displacement.
Gaskiya mu yanzu dai inda ya kai mu inda za mu tashi mu bar wurin nan muna so dai kai mu gaba ɗaya wurin namu da inda zai iya gyara mana garin mu koma alhamdulillah ya gyara mana mu koma don wannan zama ya ishe ni. Dan da asibiti ma tana zuwa tana ba magani, ya asibitin ma shekaran jiya an kore su an ce sun gama aiki a Madinatu. Yanzu zazzabi ya sami ka ba ka shiga uku ba.
Armed with their relocation cards, they long for the day they will be resettled as the government continues its ongoing resettlement efforts across the state.
An ban waje nan, na yanzu ta zo ta karba, ta ce da cikin azumi ne da sun ka zo, sun ka ce sun ban kwana uku. Mu tashi, muka zo muka riƙe alfarma muka ce da Allah muna neman alfarma zuwa bayan sallar da kwana uku. Gashi nan sun kawar kagulo. Da wannan filin ba na gwamnati ba ne, da wasu bayan Allah sun ka taimaka mana sun ka ce gashi mu zo na. Sun zo sun karbe. Da su talaba kun ba abin da suka ba mu. Sun ban mu kawai wulakanci kawai ga yaran ba makaranta ba komai.
These blocks are their major concern for now, as the government is said to have plans to evacuate and rebuild the place.
Mu dai muna roƙo a mai da mu ƙauyen mu ko wannan katin da ya bamu kusan shekara ɗaya da wani abu ya zai salame mu ƙara jari mu ƙara wasu abubuwa a ga shiru ba makaranta ba komai haka yara ga sunan kawai turin haka haka ba daɗi.
Yana da wani muhalli da zai muna za mu iya zuwa mu zauna in kuma zai iya gyara muna garinmu ko garin ma namu in ya gyara ce mu je za mu iya zuwa mu zauna garinmu.
Having heard from the displaced persons at Madinatu camp in Jere, I reached out to state government officials for further clarification on how the government intends to address such concerns of its citizens.
Now that you brought this matter, I know definitely the state is going to look into this matter again to make sure that to see if these people are actually the people that are supposed to be resettled after all odds, because you know, the last time, you know, there are issues like this, some of them that were resettled at Baga, and you can see a number of them are still coming back. I can tell you this one clearly. Majority, you know, we have countless number of people that are not even born ones, you know, and then according to, because of this resettlement, so they are just coming to regroup and find somewhere to make a livelihood.
The big question now is, what is the government doing to tackle the growing concerns of displacement, particularly the informal camps, some of them who even have relocation cards? With no clear timeline for resettlement, residents fear that the situation will worsen if no action is taken soon. Many displaced persons, particularly that of Madinatu, Al-Miskin, Wulari and Gubio informal camps, are skeptical, wondering if their wait for resettlement will ever end. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Now we go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at 11 PDP governors taking legal action against state of emergency declaration in Rivers State. We have the details of this and more after the break. And now to political matters. Just days after the Julius Abure-led faction of the Labour Party held its National Executive Council meeting, the Nenadi Usman-led Caretaker Committee is convening its own NEC meeting in Abuja. And dignitaries expected to be in attendance are the Governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate, Peter Obi, and other elected members under the party's umbrella. News Central's correspondent Joshua Marai, who is currently at the venue of the meeting, joins us now to give us an update. Joshua Marai, good afternoon. If you can hear me, can you provide us with an overview of the atmosphere at the meeting?
Well, I am currently live at the venue for the National Executive Council meeting of the Senator Nenadi Usman Caretaker Committee, and I can tell you for sure that the hall is packed. Just a few moments before I got into this call, the vice presidential candidate for the Labour Party during the 2023 general election just arrived at the venue. You can see him on the background. You can see him making his way out of the high table, as well as other dignitaries that are sitting here. Just before me, you can see the Deputy Governor of Abia State and a Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These are those who are chairing the committee meeting here as we speak. It is a full hall, it is a packed hall. You can see stakeholders from across all sectors, even from the caucus of the House of Reps, that is the person of Honorable Jinja Ngisibe sitting here, as well as the vice presidential candidate during the 2023 election. He's actually paid is exchanging pleasantries with some of the stakeholders who are currently live at this committee meeting.
Right. And what are we to expect from the meeting?
A few moments ago, I spoke with Senator Nenadi Usman, who told me that she's expectant that the deadlock that the imbroglio plaguing the party, they are expected to reach a resolution today to resolve all pending issues as regards to the faction led by Julius Abudi. Of course, you know that it is a normal thing to see internal crisis amongst political party members in Nigeria, but the one of Labour Party took a drastic turn last Friday when the Supreme Court issued a ruling setting aside the Court of Appeal judgment that upheld the chairmanship of Julius Aburi. And now they are here. This is to chart a way forward to see what the party can do to resolve its own crisis and to move on.
Okay, Joshua, I thank you so much for the updates. I would also like to know if there is, allowance for the press to cover it full time, like the entire event.
We are hopeful to see them allowing us to observe the entire process as it unfolds, and we are very optimistic that they will grant us this privilege of seeing how it plays down here in this National Executive Council meeting that is holding at the Transport Port in Abuja.
All right, thank you so much, Joshua Marai, live at the Federal Capital Territory to cover the National Executive Council meeting, and definitely News Central will be keeping you updated as the situation unfolds. And out to more stories. The Administrator of River State, Ibok-Ete Ibas, has made significant moves to strengthen governance in the state, announcing the appointment of administrators for all 23 local government areas. Now, in addition, Ibas has appointed Michael Odey as the new chairman of the River State Independent Electoral Commission, RSIEC. The administrator also approved the reconstitution of several boards of agencies, commissions, and parastatals that had previously been suspended. These decisions are aimed at enhancing the state's administrative functions and ensuring more effective governance as Ibas continues to lead River State. Now, in the meantime, a total of 11 governors from the People's Democratic Party have approached the Supreme Court, challenging President Bola Tinubu's powers to suspend a democratically elected structure of a state. The governors are asking the Supreme Court to determine whether the president has the constitutional authority to suspend a democratically elected state structure. And they're also questioning whether the manner in which President Tinubu declared the state of emergency in River State violates the 1999 Constitution. The plaintiffs in the case include the governors of Adamawa, Enugu, Osun, Oyo, Bauchi, Akwa Ibom, Plateau, Delta, Taraba, Zamfara, and Bayelsa State. Now, Jude Ezenwafo has emerged as the gubernatorial candidate for the People's Democratic Party in Anambra State, ahead of the November 8th gubernatorial election in the state. Now, at the primary election held at the Professor Dora Akunyili Women Development Center, Oka, Anambra State Capital, Ezenwafo, being the sole aspirant, polled 798 votes and was subsequently declared the winner by the electoral panel chairman, Colonel Onwubuya. Onwubuya announced that 999 delegates were expected, but only 853 were accredited, with 798 votes cast and 26 void votes. According to News Central correspondent Austin Azu, who monitored the exercise, the voting process was overseen by INEC officials and observers under tight security, with delegates voting yes or no on the ballot box.
And in line with the decisive electoral guidelines for the conduct of the governorship primary elections, I, Honorable Colonel Onwubuya, Chairman, 2025 Anambra State gubernatorial election, primary election electoral committee, thereby declare that, sir, as a one of you, having the highest number of votes cast, is hereby declared winner of the primary. I appreciate it and dedicate it to God Almighty and to all the MEPs members that have left the party. I am expecting that when we get back, so that this is the beginning of our success. Our chance of taking over power in Anambra State is the people. We are the People's Party that is not owned by anybody. And the moment everybody you see supporting PDP are people that believe in the people.
Now, the 2027 general election in Nigeria is fast approaching, and the major political parties are already gearing up for the crucial polls. News Central's Igbalani Omoni assesses the permutations as the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, is seeking to consolidate its hold on power, while the opposition parties are exploring various strategies, including potential mergers and alliances to unseat the incumbent government.
Progressives Congress APC, which has been in power since 2015, has faced criticism over its handling of various issues, including insecurity, economic challenges, and allegations of corruption.
Clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges, cutting across from the three arms of government, from the executive to the parliament to the judiciary. And I always plead with our people that whatever we do affects everybody.
However, the party remains confident in its ability to secure another term, banking on its achievements in areas such as infrastructure development and social welfare programs.
It is difficult to predict and say in the next 6 months or in the next 1 year everything will change. However, it is a kind of policy that you are convinced that in the long run we are going to have a total turnaround. But in the meantime, the interventions of government, in one area or the other, has given SOCO or is giving SOCO to Nigeria in many respects.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, the main opposition force, is working to regain its footing after a series of internal crises and defections.
I love this party.
The party's fortunes may hinge on the role played by Nyesom Wike, the current FCT minister and former governor of Rivers State, who has been at loggerheads with the party's leadership. The Labour Party, LP, which gained momentum with Peter Obi as its candidate, having come third in the 2021 presidential election, still battles leadership crisis, making many doubt its strength to compete effectively.
Let it be known within the Federation and beyond that there is no vacuum in the leadership of Labour Party.
Rumors of potential mergers with other opposition parties surge as the Labour Party have been circulating, fueling speculation about the formation of a formidable coalition against the APC.
Are we seeing these united fronts go ahead into the 2027 general election, thus assuming is the death of a major opposition against the APC? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
There is also speculation of merger between top political figures such as Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar in the Social Democratic Party SDP.
People are saying they want to coalesce now. They don't even have any party that's agreeing to be market to be registered himself into them. They are just shopping for where they're going to contest the election. One of them hopefully will get it, and what will happen knowing them, a few of them will be dealing with the ruling party, another said will jump out and say they want to go and take another. Just
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has embarked on a formulation of its election project plan in preparation for the 2027 general election. Ultimately, the success of the various political parties will depend on their ability to present compelling visions for the country's future, addressing pressing issues and garner support of the electorate. In Lagos, for News Central, Igbalani Omoni.
Now to education matters. Nigeria's federal government has embarked on an ambitious reform to reposition technical and vocational education in the country. Some of these reforms include converting federal science and technical colleges to federal technical colleges to equip youths with technical and vocational skills and help feed the federal government's National Talent Export Program. Now, while the federal technical colleges will be regarded as centers of excellence and will serve as attraction centers with incentives to attract youths from across the country, the big question is, how much impact can these reforms make? News Central's Aisha Saliu reviews these reforms in lines with the state of technical and vocational education in the country and brings us the report.
For decades, Nigeria has strived to diversify its economy and empower its burgeoning youth population, which remain largely unemployed. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria has about 160 million of its population classified as youth, comprising 70% of the nation's population, with unemployment rate among youth aged between 15 to 24 years in the third quarter of 2023 at about 8.6%. Many believe that Nigeria sits on a time bomb. Recognizing the critical role of technical and vocational education and training, especially in engaging these large available resources, the Federal Ministry of Education has embarked on ambitious reforms aimed at transforming this sector.
People used to see this job as menial jobs. People see them as for lesser people. However, if government is incentivizing it and telling you, hey, you don't have to pay anything and you can still make money from this, I think that is a push. That in a way is a scholarship, it's an incentive, and it will help in changing the behavior, the thinking of vocational education among Nigerians.
A visit to a building site where several youth were engaged with skills acquired from vocation schools. We met up with Ezekiel Bassi and Otache Onu. They say that the importance of technical and vocation schools cannot be overemphasized, as it presents many youth with the skills that can help them sustain their livelihoods.
The electrical skill I've learned has helped me a lot in life. I've gained much. It sustained me, is the one sustaining me in whatever I do, my rent and every other things. I live by it.
It has been helping me so far in terms of going up and down, and due to the hardship of this country, Nigerian, if you are not a skill or handwork person, you find it very difficult in this country, and this is what is helping me.
Onu, who attended the Vocational Enterprise Institute Karshi, says that he acquired skills that helped further his education to university level. He believes that technical education can help Nigerian youth reduce the dependency on white-collar jobs, reducing the unemployment bulge and getting many youth off the streets.
I learned this right from my junior secondary school, and that is what I used to forward my own educations. I am done. I just finished my service last year, and through the skills that I learned from my secondary school, that is what I used to forward my educations.
With government's renewed effort to initiate reforms that will make technical education more attractive among youth in the country, a review of the policy where those in technical colleges will receive monthly stipends of 5,000 naira has been described as an attempt to transform the technical and vocational education sector and will reap immense benefits for the nation.
The return on that investment will still come. Don't forget. So whatever government is investing today, it will reap in another way when those investments mature. Those people will work, they will pay taxes, revenue are put to government, and it's something that can become sustainable on that basis.
With Nigeria's federal government now attaching more seriousness to equipping its youthful population with technical and vocational skills, many believe that its current policy, if properly executed, will reduce the nation's unemployment bulge, creating employed youth in their thousands. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
And now, after weeks of what seemed like a tough appraisal of applicants seeking to teach in Abia State's public schools, the state government says it will begin to look in the way of those who have special skills and knowledge in technical and science education, irrespective of their professional qualifications. Now, the Commissioner for Information and his basic education counterpart, Oke Kanu and Goodluck Obochi, told journalists in Umuahia that the government has been unable to get the required number of teachers in the technical and science subjects in its recruitment process. News Central's Chinwe Ugele has more.
It's been a rigorous process of recruiting teachers for the public primary and secondary schools in Abia State. The government had proposed initial 2,000 vacancies and later increased the opportunities after an outcry by some stakeholders. But it appears that the exercise may not fulfill part of its purpose of filling the dearth of science, technical education and mathematics teachers.
As a thinking and compassionate government, the State Executive Council has approved the conduct of another round of teachers' recruitment exercise to give those who could not participate in the first phase a chance to participate this time around. Additionally, the outcome of this round of recruitment interview will afford the ministry to have a better bank of very qualified teachers.
Though government is considering the recruitment of people with no qualifications in education, the government says there are plans to put such persons through necessary training to equip them for the job.
Because these are areas that we have been getting so much challenge. People who have maybe basic electricity, modern mathematics, most of them don't have educational qualification. But you can't allow our schools to keep moving without these teachers.
Some residents of Umuahia, the state capital, comment the move. They say it will reduce unemployment while ensuring that the learners are not lacking knowledge in science and technical areas.
It's a very nice development. At least it will reduce stealing, idle, all those things. At least you get something doing. Something like gives you income.
You know, mathematics is a very important subject. Those sciences and those technical aspects of education. So it's good they go into it because most times you don't get them in NCE or something like that. So, but we have graduates that are good in those subjects, so they can be used.
The people are confident that with their qualifications in their specialized field, they will be able to impact knowledge on the pupils and students.
Since we are educated, we can adapt to any environment, to any academic area. Since we are educated, we can through practice, we can perform.
What we need is imparting into the children the needed academic knowledge.
While the teacher-student ratio has been a source of concern in Abia State, the expectation of stakeholders is that if the government is able to recruit a substantial number of teachers into the public school system, the impact will be positive and far-reaching. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
The United Nations International Peace and Governance Council has advised African countries to negotiate and deepen regional integration in a bid to eliminate insecurity and achieve economic emancipation. This was made known at the 14th edition of the Pan-African Leadership Symposium and Honors, PALISH, held at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in Lagos, Nigeria. News Central's Omolola Ololade has more in this report.
The 14th edition of the Pan-African Leadership Symposium brought together African leaders, diplomats, policymakers, traditional and religious leaders to negotiate and deepen regional integration in a bid to eliminate insecurity while achieving economic emancipation.
We have deemed it necessary to bring our Pan-Africanist leaders from their various spheres of life to discuss and to share more knowledge from their wealth of experience on how we can resolve this conflict through alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, which is the ADR.
At the center of this conversation is the exit of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger from ECOWAS, the nexus between good governance and nation building, the role of traditional rulers and governance, and the need to solve African problems with African solutions.
Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger had to go through military coup so that they can start fulfilling the people's will and dream. But for the rest of us who still have civilian governments, we should not wait for the military to come and do the work. We can do a better and stronger work than the militaries alone would do.
Stakeholders emphasize the crucial role of traditional rulers in national security apparatuses, advocating for their greater engagement in fostering peaceful communities.
People or disputants who are not agreeable to customary arbitration, when they go to court, they normally fail. And the courts, where the Supreme Court has held on several occasions that customary arbitration is binding on the parties because they submitted to the customary arbitration. And this was being done by our traditional rulers. And it's still happening up to today.
Traditional rulers, a lot of rules, name it be security, youth empowerment, women inclusion, all this starts from the grassroots. And if you can take care of the traditional institution very well, I think we will have a peaceful coexistence and sustainable growth.
However, government representatives highlighted the importance of women inclusion in decision-making, asserting that nations excluding women in governance are destined to fail.
The problem is that I've identified two core areas: the political parties who have been paying lip services to the involvement and participation of women in Nigerian governance and in elective offices.
The theme for this year's symposium, Adaptive Leadership and Alternative Dispute Resolution Mechanisms for Consolidating Coexistence in Africa, reiterated the importance of collective action in achieving security, peace and national development. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
Coming up on the news, concern as crisis looms in Kenya's Turkana County following U.S. aid cuts. We'll tell you more after the break. Do join us again. Still live with us on the news. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now in Central Africa, Gabon is set to vote this Saturday to choose a new president, with junta chief Brice Oligui Nguema the front runner following his August 2023 coup that ended more than 5 decades of Bongo family rule. The 50-year-old career soldier Oligui is confident of a historic victory against 7 challengers, including Alain Claude Billy by Nze, the former prime minister under the ousted president. Voters will cast their ballots between 7:30 a.m. and 6 p.m., with results expected by April 16th. Oligui has sought to reinvent his image as the candidate of the people, despite critics accusing him of maintaining ties to the corrupt systems he promised to dismantle. The nation watches closely as it faces a pivotal moment. Now to East Africa. The director of the major hospital in Kenya's largest and most impoverished county is deeply concerned as a halt in U.S. aid threatens essential medical services. Now, with the U.S. support ending, the facility will face shortages of critical medicines by next month. Turkana County, which borders Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Uganda, has a population of almost 1 million, with many depending on foreign assistance. The U.S. government recently cut funding to USAID, which had been crucial in providing medical supplies and staff. Local authorities have voiced concerns over the future of healthcare, especially amid vaccine shortages. Now, South Africa is hosting the 17th biannual conference of the International Association of Women Judges from the 9th to 12th of April 2025 in Cape Town. The conference is held under the theme Resilience, Women in Leadership to End Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, and will bring together approximately 900 judges, magistrates, legal professionals, and policy makers from across the world to address the global scourge of gender-based violence and femicide through judicial leadership and activism.
Acutely aware of the profound challenges that women face, challenges that are not merely personal but deeply systemic. Gender-based violence and femicide is not just a statistics. It is a reality that affects millions of women worldwide, undermining their dignity, health, and potential. It is an affront to our shared values and our collective progress as a society. We have seen how resilient women have become in the face of adversity. Resilience is an intrinsic quality that many of us carry within us. It is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. That's why I say we are the greatest multitaskers. To adapt.
Let's head now outside the African continent. China has firmly rejected allegations from Ukraine and the United States that Chinese soldiers are fighting alongside Russian forces. Describing the claims as absolutely groundless, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian reiterated China's clear stance on the Ukraine conflict, which advocates for peace and has been widely supported internationally. Now, Ukraine's president had earlier accused China of sending soldiers to assist Russian troops in the war, a claim that has also drawn criticism from the U.S. However, China maintains that it has not engaged in any military involvement in the conflict, focusing instead on diplomatic solutions. Now, this denial comes amid heightened scrutiny over foreign participation in the war, with nations closely monitoring any signs of further escalation. Now to business. The Apapa port in Lagos has maintained a dominance over other Nigerian ports. This dominance negatively impacts balance and efficiency in maritime operations in the country. To address this, reforms are needed to improve efficiency, reduce congestion, and encourage the utilization of other ports, potentially through infrastructure upgrades, incentives, and streamlined processes. News Central's maritime correspondent Norma Obiaswalo examines the issue in this report.
For Nigerian ports to be competitive and efficient, stakeholders say structural failures and dominance of their Apapa ports must be addressed. They said these failures and dominance has contributed to the hike in haulage costs at the Apapa port. Investigations reveal that it takes days for trucks to access the port, as security agencies have set up various checkpoints at locations such as Creek Road, Eleganza, Ijora axis of the Apapa port access road. These checkpoints also allegedly serve as spots of extortion for trucks accessing and leaving the ports. Chairman of the Association of Nigerian Licensed Custom Agents, ANALCA, Apapa chapter, speaks on these issues and the way forward.
These people hijacked the process, the truckers, through TTP. They will come up with fake truck plate numbers, both Kekena Pepe, both motorcycle, both car fake numbers, fake plate numbers. Then they will now buy plenty of this Eto and put in stock. The process of reselling it makes the cost of transportation high in Apapa. Because if you go to Tinkan, you carry the same goods at the rate of 200, as case may be. Then if you get to maybe KLT, you carry the same goods at 150,000. You go to Lekki, you carry the same goods at 300,000. You can consider the distance from Apapa is almost 800 to 1 million. The same goods in other places cheaper. But because of the racket that is existing between the Eto truckers and whoever. But I'm coming up with a program with other joint association chairmen, to scuttle the racket. What we are trying to do now is to train our members through TTP. By the time we finish training them, they will have the wallet, Eto wallet themselves. It's no longer going through the trucker before you can book your consignment through them. Once you have done with your TDO, which is attached to the Eto, all you needed to do through your wallet, you can now engage your transporter, who you know that is reliable. Because without the plate number attached to that Eto through TTP, you cannot enter the port. Through that way, we can decongest the access road.
The economic impact of this hike on businesses and final consumers amid the hardship experienced in the country are serious concerns that needs immediate attention. Days ahead will tell if the strategies deployed by the clearing agents to break this dominance will address the hike. In Lagos, for News Central, Norma Obiaswalo.
That's all on the news of this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Now, we did tell you police authorities have deployed tactical assets to Plateau State following deadly attacks in Bokus local government area. We also mentioned, despite opposition, River State Sole Administrator Ibok-Ete Ibas appoints new local government administrators and State Electoral Commission chairman. And finally, we told you that Gabon's pivotal election has been set for Saturday as Junta Chief Oligui faces 7 challengers. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, GoTV, channel 23. And remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Follow us on social media. We are at News Central Television. You can also watch us on Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Basugu.